Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Master Lock hitch and coupler lock set for hitches that have a 5/8 hitch pin as well as those that have a 1/2 inch size hitch pin. So I will say probably one of the best things about this kit is the fact that you can have a hitch lock as well as your coupler lock that share the same key. That way you don't have to constantly kind of keep track of what key does what. You can have one on your key ring and know that it's going to unlock both of your locks. So since this kit does come with multiple items, let's kind of run through them one by one and check them out and see how they work. So we'll start with the hitch pins. So you're going to get a 1/2 inch size, which will work with those smaller hitches, as well as the 5/8, which will work with those 2 inch by 2 inch hitches. What's nice is, so you get 2 pins. The lock is interchangeable though. So let's say if you're using your 5/8 pin one day and then needed to use your 1/2 inch size one the next, you could simply take the lock off and pop that in place. So that's really nice that this is interchangeable like that. These are going to share pretty much the same features, so I'll just go ahead and set our smaller one off to the side, kind of focus on this one. These things are really heavy duty. It'll give us a solid connection, but more importantly, let's focus on the lock mechanism. So this thing feels nice and stout, really well made actually. One thing that I do like is the fact whenever you go to put this on, alright, so I'm gonna reset this here. When you go to put this on or take it off, specifically take it off, you're just going to have to rotate the key maybe about not even a quarter turn, and then the lock mechanism will come off. And that's not something you see on all of them. There's some that you have to kind of continually rotate that key. That can be kind of a challenge sometimes when you're kind of underneath your vehicle and getting it on your hitch. So what's kind of cool is whenever you are ready to put the lock mechanism on, you can just push it right onto place. You do need to leave the key in there when you're doing that, but it just pushes on. You don't need to turn the key or anything like that. So it's locked and secure. So it just makes it a little easier when you go to put it on and off. The lock mechanism itself feels smooth. It doesn't really bind up or anything like that. And it's going to have an actually pretty thick dust cover here. And that should do a good job of kind of keeping out any moisture, dirt, debris, things like that. That way your lock mechanism will operate smoothly for quite some time. Now we can kind of talk about the coupler lock. And this is a pretty nice little setup actually. It's adjustable, so it'll work with a ton of different trailer couplers. Again, uses that same key. And the way this is going to work is a little bit different. You're going to have to rotate that about a 1/2 turn, and that'll unlock it. Then you can pull that off. This isn't the smoothest operation here, I'm not going to lie, but not really a huge deal to get the job done. So once you're ready to lock that in place, what you're going to do is find that spot you want it, turn that key, pull it out, and that's going to prevent it from moving. So that's how this one's going to work. Gives you a nice little grip there. And again, the locking mechanism itself is relatively smooth. Feels like it operates pretty good. And this shares a lot of the same features as the hitch pin lock. Everything's kind of cased in this rubber. And again, has a nice thick dust cap to help keep everything working smoothly. So let's go ahead and actually put these things to use. So we have a 2 inch by 2 inch hitch here today. Go ahead and pull out our old standard hitch pin. And I'm going to be using the 5/8 pin. So we'll just go ahead and slide that through. Take our lock mechanism, pop that on, and pull the key out. So now that we have our ball mount secure, let's go ahead, drop the trailer down on it, and get the coupler lock installed. So one thing I really do like about these coupler locks is not only can you use them to help secure your trailer a little bit, whenever it's in storage or something like that, but you can also use them for a latch pin for your coupler whenever you're hooked up. So hooked up to the ball mount, go ahead and lock that on. And then we can put this through kind of get it where we want there. And lock it down. And this is just a good habit to get into. Now we know for a fact our coupler latch isn't going to come up and come accidentally disconnected or anything like that. And it's one less thing we're going to have to kind of carry around. You know, when you have your trailer in storage and you have this on, obviously when you go to hook up to it, you can take it off and put it back on once you are hooked up. So you don't have to carry an extra pin around or anything like that. Not to mention, let's say maybe you're on a long trip and you park at a hotel or something, you know it's going to be secured to your vehicle. Especially for those of you, today we have a boat. One thing, you go to the boat launch, you launch your boat, you go out in the water, and your vehicle and your trailer is just sitting there. Well, without this being locked to your trailer, it's really not stopping anyone from popping this up without a lock, of course. Pop that up, swing it over, hook it up to their truck, and take off with it. So kind of get two birds with one stone here, and it's really a win-win situation all the way around. So since we're right here talking about the coupler lock, I figured we'd elaborate on it a little bit more. One thing I do like is the universality of it. It's really long, so it's going to work with a ton of different types of couplers. As long as your coupler latch has a 1/4 inch pin diameter, which is the size of the pin, then this will fit through there. So you have a ton of adjustability there. You know, each one of these notches is a locking position. I will say on couplers like this one here, a little more narrow, if you do push it completely over, there is going to be a little bit of space there. And to be honest with you, you know, could someone get a pair of bolt cutters or something like that in there to remove this? Probably. But I mean, that goes with any type of locking mechanism, really. You know, none of them are going to be completely indestructible, but these definitely do help deter people. You know, they might see this, go, I'm not even going to deal with it. I'll find something else, someone else to mess with. So at the end of the day, a little bit of extra security that, you know, would help you sleep a little bit better at night. So now that we kind of covered the trailer coupler lock, let's go ahead and just talk about the hitch pin lock itself here. The cool thing about this setup, all of the locks are going to be made from stainless steel. So you know that they're not going to rust out or get too beat up, anything like that. With this one, this is a 5/8 one on the 2-inch hitch. This one does sit nice and tight or flush pretty much against the side of the receiver tube opening there. So if someone were to try to get that one removed, I could see that being very difficult. That's just my opinion. In this particular case, the lock mechanism is about medium size, I guess you could say, maybe a little bit on the bigger side. And how my safety chain openings here are positioned. And when the lock's kind of resting, it does kind of interfere a little bit with the safety chain openings, but not really a huge deal. Just something I noticed and thought I would mention. So what's really nice about this is you get the kit. You know, so whenever your trailer's in storage, it's locked up, and you don't have to worry about pulling your hitch-mounted accessory out to put it inside the vehicle or in your garage, whatever the case may be, to prevent someone from running off with it. Nowadays, a lot of accessories are really high quality. You know, they make some really nice ball mounts, bike racks, cargo carriers, whatever you got. And if that's your case, you definitely want to keep them protected. Because without a locking hitch pin, I mean, it's nothing for someone to come up, pull the traditional classic style out, and now your accessory is theirs. So super simple way to prevent that from happening and really just deter those people that are up to no good from messing with your things. So when it comes down to it, a kit you really can't go wrong with. You know, this is well thought out, and it's going to kind of cover all your bases. So you can keep your trailer locked up, you can keep your accessories and your hitch locked up, whether you have that smaller hitch that uses a 1/2 inch size pin or the larger hitch that uses the 5/8 size hitch pin. And that'll finish up our look of the master lock, hitch, and coupler lock set.